Okay, time for another video. Today I want to show how we would basically design a vamp or a vamp overlay, a toe fox you might call it, and we're gonna do it on this 9.5D last. This is one of our last. It's a Zipper Boot 100, a last we designed, and really cool last. Built a lot of boots on this particular model, but I want to show you. I mean, this is also used for cowboy boots, right? So it's not specifically just for zipper boots. However, when I designed the zipper boot, I've tried to mark it to where I would remember which one I designed it for. So this was, it's a few years back we designed this, but really like the way it looks, the way it flows, and it makes a really nice cowboy boot as well. So today I'm gonna take a 9.5. You see, I've got this marked 9.5 to 10.5. So, you know, when I say 9.5 to 10.5, you know, there's about a 1/2 inch of variance here for, you know, extra material. So this will fit up to a 10.5. Just learn that over time that you can make those variances and add them into your blocker pattern, which is what this is. This is a blocker on the bottom, or in other words, it's cut a little wide or cut a little long so we can have extra material to pull. But today I want to show you, we're not going to do a toe bug design, which is what you see here already cut out in this vamp pattern. We're going to do what we call a toe fox, or a overlay toe design that you would see on a lot of older cowboy boots or our zipper boot designs. But I'm going to go ahead and lay this completely out. So just using a regular letter size folder here, and I'll show you why we use folders here in a minute. We're just going to go ahead and basically make a whole new blocker pattern. And you'll see this vamp pattern, it's a little bit unique in that so just for your reference, when you're building a cowboy boot, you usually want your shaft to come down right about 3/4 inch off the cone. And that's about where that line is right there. So if you were laying this out, and of course paper is not ideal, but you can get the gist. So you see how that toe bug on 9.5 ends up being about right there, which is where I like it. Toe wrinkles end up being a little far back, but that's okay because they're more for design than they are anything. And you see there's plenty to pull over on a 9.5 all the way up to a 10.5, which makes it a blocker pattern. And so that works for the size we're doing, again, 9.5D. And I'm going to show you now how I would lay out, you know, where I want that toe foxing to end up. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that same point onto this new pattern. So again, you saw where I had that toe bug, the very point ending up right there in this part of the toe. So it ended up about right there, which is ideal for the look that I'm going for. So what look am I going for? Well, we're just gonna start drawing, and we'll see what we come up with. I have a particular design style that I've used over the years on a lot of different boots. But today we're just gonna start drawing and see what happens. Again, this is what discovery is all about. You start drawing and you discover something new and cool that you wanna do, and that makes it fun. That makes it exciting. It keeps it from being boring. Another trick that I do is sometimes if I'm gonna cut, or if I'm gonna draw shapes and patterns, I like to use coins. So 3 different size coins here, quarter, dime, and penny, which I'd probably need a nickel. Ultimately is what I'm gonna want probably. But where would you put this? Well, if I'm gonna draw a circle, really tight circle, I would use this just to help me out. But remember, this is folded in half. We're only gonna draw half, and then it's gonna transcribe to the other side like you cut out a snowflake when you were a kid, right? So that makes our life easier. So what do we wanna draw today? I think I'm gonna pull out a boot and show you something very intricate. So that is a lot going on. But you see where I ended this is about where we're talking about there, right? So this is another 9.5, I believe. Not quite finished boot here. But you see there's a lot going on. And that is a crazy looking pattern. Fun and very busy. And you see by adding these studs, it really kind of breaks up the monotony of all the stitching and all the leather overlay. But this is what we're going for. We're going for an overlay toe foxing like this. So what do we want to do? All right, so I'm just gonna start letting my mind go free and figure out what we want to do. So, you know, I like fleur-de-lis patterns. I like points. I like circles. And I like a challenge. So I think we'll, you know, we're gonna come out on the sides too, like on this boot. You can see I purposefully kind of came down on the sides, right to the very point right there. That got a little close, probably didn't like that as much. Didn't get as close over here, because again, there's more material on that last, over on that side. But I wanna try to make it as uniform as possible. I think I'm gonna do a cutout just about like that toe bug, or down to that same point. So, that's why we have erasers, right? So, we can erase anything we don't like. So this is already starting like something I would do very routinely. That's okay, that gives you a little bird's eye view into how I do things. So we got these little bird's heads, what I call bird's head patterns or figures. Let's do another one opposing there. Tight circles, why do I do tight circles? Well, they're harder. And I like to challenge myself. So you'll see I like to keep things uniform. And you see how that backside curve comes around and meets that and has an equidistance from this little hawkbill bird's head here. And I think that's cool. I could do it here too, watch. So just again, keep uniformity. You can, this is again all about discovery. So I liked it there, let's do it here. Right? So that's kind of a better looking thing. And let's go ahead and just bring that down to a point. Or we could do this. Actually, I want a little bit more of a, like that. And then we can come back down to that. That looks cool. So I feel like Bob Ross. Hope I don't sound like him. Actually, I love Bob Ross. So we're gonna keep doing that. Well, we don't have to. We can do points, kind of like this. That makes sense. But I don't want to do another point out there. I want to terminate that into something that's like our pattern, right? So we'll just do this. That looks good. Some of you may say, well, I can't draw like that. Well, I'm not that great of a artist either. This is just something that comes with habitual, doing it over and over. These little figures, I do a lot. This is nothing new for me. I've done it a million times. This is just gonna be a new pattern. So let's go ahead and start to bring it down the side of the boot. So, we're somewhere in the middle here, and I'm gonna start bringing it down like this to make it to where it doesn't come back too far. I mean, you could bring it all the way back to your side seam, which is gonna end up about right here. And this is waist. I mean, you could bring it all the way to here, but that gets a little bit, I wanna have some breathing room over here. So let's do this. So again, this is kind of a negative space circle. So you see these little circles, this bigger circle, and sometimes I'll do this, and that was almost perfect, just to make it just right. Too bad they don't have coins that small. We got to come down now and get this design down to here in this area, okay? So, what should we do? So again, this is all gonna be waste, so we don't need to worry about drawing anything down there. I don't like that, so I'm going to remove that. So what do I want to do? Yeah, I think I like this. Let's try doing the same thing. So you see how this is wrong compared to everything else here. So we need to fix that. There we go. So here, I'm just going to emulate this. Oops. It could be that, or it could just come down and let's do this, because this is all not going to be seen. Actually, yeah, that looks better. So you don't have to worry about doing that same thing. All right, so that would be what goes on here, okay? So now, like this boot here, do we want to do any of these filigree cutouts? Which is basically just taking out little sections in those open spots. Okay, so now we talked about doing some filigree cutouts. We'll just do some loose ideas. And again, we know back down to here is about all we got. So the shoulder of the boot, or this kind of this edge, is, you know, probably right in here. So once we get this cut out, we can lay it onto the last and see exactly where that's gonna lay, but that's pretty close. So I wanna be careful of how far I bring these down. I also wanna be careful of how thin I get the cutouts. But I gotta make them match, so let's do this. When I say match, I want this and this to be the same. Looks okay. Again, I'm just following these figures. A little thin there. Now, as a shape, it doesn't look that great, but as you start looking at the, this is the negative space. If you start looking at all of this, it looks really, you know, kind of what we're going for. And could I do some more maybe? If you wanted to, you could do this. Something like so now you get the gist of what I'm talking about. Does that make sense? So basically, you're just translating this idea to here, and making these little commas, or whatever you want to call them. But that's a pretty cool design, unique, something fresh. So now all we got to do is cut it out. Same same everything here on how we do that. You've seen the other videos. The only thing I'm gonna do is get rid of a lot of waste really quick. So, it doesn't have to be perfect because again, this is just an overlay. So I'm gonna get rid of all this. Don't need that anymore. So let's cut this out and see what it looks like once it's all there, and then we can make our decision if we like it or not. Some people say, well, why did you go all the trouble to cut it out if you don't know if you like it? Well, you gotta see what it's gonna look like. So you see these little holes here. I've got a trick for those that I use, and it's called a half punch. And you can use a full punch if you've got the right size. It just don't happen, I don't have the right size handy here. You see what that did is it made that hole part perfect, which makes my life easier. And I'll even do this when I cut the leather, just so I don't have to cut those tiny holes. All right, now let's just cut to them, okay? So, sometimes my eye sees things as I'm cutting. That's why you'll see me cut lines that are wider and not exactly on the lines that I drew. That's okay, that's just the, you know, the art of it, the symmetry of it. On. Let's get this little guy. Again, leaving the blade in the material, just like on the other video where you saw me actually cutting the leather. Okay. And you can see these are tight little boogers. But you can also see how cutting those half punch circles, you don't have to get in there so tight with this blade and struggle with that. Okay. I think this is gonna look good. All right, one last little part here. Oh, we got one more here. A little comma here. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. It's gonna be pretty cool, I think. All right, let's check this against the last. It's gonna be somewhere about right there. So that's gonna lay in there like that. See how good that looks? It's gonna be a little tight there, but that's okay. But by the time you have the lining underneath there, it's gonna puff it out a little bit more. Over here, it looks fantastic. So that looks, I'm gonna use a darker leather here, mostly because it shows up better on the camera. And for these purposes, it's just gonna help us. But I'm gonna go ahead and transcribe all of this onto the leather with the silver pen. And here's where you can use your little hold fast, little bag that's got lead shot in it. You can use anything that's heavy, any kind of paperweight, or some guys use ballasts out of light fixtures. That would be too big for this tiny work. But whatever works for you to keep the leather held down. Now, some of you may ask, well, there's a video on your channel that shows you cutting this out with a machine. And, you know, that's what I would probably do. But if for the case of this video and how most people have to do it, most people don't have a machine set up like that. I'm gonna show the old way, or the traditional, normal way. Make sure I got all my lines. Yep. So the traditional or old world way is just cutting it out with a knife. If I had the machine set up right now, I could cut both vamps at the same time. And all it is a sewing machine with a blade. Which does save a lot of time. Okay. Wow. That's a lot of cutting. I think I'm just gonna sharpen this blade. I was gonna put a new blade in, but I think I can. She was dull. Maybe that's sharp enough. Okay. All right, here we go. So just, if you've watched our videos, you know how we do this. I got my knife sharp. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the holes like you saw me do earlier with this little half punch. Right on the radius. And basically I'm cutting all the way to the end of that little bird's head. And then I have another punch that I can do this one with. Again, just cutting that radius. And you're like, why do you do that? Because I want my circles to be circles. And this helps me, you know, keep nice circles. Okay. Same here, go to the end of that little half punch cut. Turning my material while the blade is buried in the cutting mat. Okay. So as you can see, this takes quite a bit of patience, but it's not too hard. All right, at least now we can see what it looks like. Okay, 2 more little cutouts on this side. So, see some of these little points have really tiny fuzzies on the end. You can do a lot of cleaning with this lighter. Really kind of smooths out those edges. Sometimes with a knife like that, you get a flat spot or two. Okay. Now for the other side. Sam's, wherever you shop. All right, there we have a dark brown filigreed toe foxing for this particular style or boot. And so let's see what color we want to put that on. So that looks great. Might be a little bit too light. Just brown on brown looks fantastic. So use light stitching. Let me show you some different colors. Well, that would be loud. That's crazy. It's not half bad. Oh, Lord. See, I think I like that. So we will do that and show you that in another video, but what I want to really do is show you what it looks like to cut out this filigree, this design actually from start to finish, and show you how we design it, how we took it from paper to completed toe fox. So that's how we do it. So if you don't mind, like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and remember that more stuff is coming. We have some membership levels. If you choose to join, you can get all kinds of perks. You can get the emojis, the badges. We've got a lot of different levels in there, and I mean, I'm talking some great stuff if you want to learn how to make boots. So check it out on YouTube, which is where you're watching this most likely. And again, subscribe, share, like, and keep watching. We got a lot of cool stuff coming. So thank you.